This video is brought to you by you over on Patreon. Click the link in the video description to learn more. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a good one. I am taking some questions from patrons today, and 321JCat wanted to know, what's a moment in your life you look back on and say, wow, I was an idiot every time I remember it? This is a weird one. It's a weird question. It's a good starting question though, because I think it sets a good tone for what these questions are potentially going to be and what they could be. But it's a weird starting question because it's one of those questions where I could be like, oh, there's so many, there's too many to name. And then the ones that I can think of, they're not big and exciting. They don't have a big sexy hook to them, you know? They're just moments where I was a bit of an idiot. I mean, I'll give you the example of the time I started renting a house. Okay? The time I started renting a house, I was looking to move out of here. I don't even think I had this studio at the time. I think I was working out of my bedroom and I wanted to rent a house. So I went and I started looking for houses online, and I found this place that was a 4-bedroom place in another town. It was a 5-minute walk from a beach. It was in a pretty good neighborhood. It had a store about a mile away. It had a small convenience store around the corner. It had a school in the area, which didn't really bother me. I don't have kids, and it's not really a planned thing, in case you were curious at the moment. But, you know, it was a good neighborhood, right? It's one of those neighborhoods that people are like, oh, it's a good neighborhood. It's got a school. It's got a park. It's got a church. It's got a convenience store. It's got a supermarket a mile away. It's 5 minutes from the beach. It's like 10 minutes from the town center. It's got a bus stop around the corner. It's got a train station over here. It's got access to main roads about 5 minutes that way. It was a really nice area. And it was really cheap. You can see where this is maybe going. Admittedly, side note, the price of living, the cost of living here in Northern Ireland is actually pretty cheap. That's something people keep mentioning to me. They're like, how do you have YouTube as your full-time job? You don't get like 10,000 views every video. You don't get 50,000 views every video. How is it your job? The cost of living here is ridiculous. I'm honestly surprised more YouTubers don't. Well, I understand why people don't move to Northern Ireland willingly, but regardless, it's affordable, man. I'm just saying, it's affordable and the scenery is beautiful. Regardless, yeah. So I was looking at this house. 4 bedrooms, nice kitchen-ish, looked good in the pictures, dining room in the kitchen, living room was the length of the house, so you've got a nice big window at the front, nice big window at the back, light the whole way through the living room, and then, like I said, 4 bedrooms upstairs, so 1 bedroom for me, a spare bedroom for any guests that would be over, an office space for all of this kind of stuff, and then a 3rd room, which would be storage for all of the schmeckus that I have laying around. It was great on paper. So I went to view it and I took a look around and I was like, it looks nicer in the pictures. You can see where this is going. It looks nicer in the pictures. And I walked into the kitchen and I thought, these cabinets look a little weird. So I went up to the cabinets and I realized that the solid oak kitchen cabinets were in fact that like chipboard fake wood with vinyl covers on them, and I think, whatever, you know, it's fair enough. And I realized the vinyl covers are starting to peel away from the place. All of them, by the way, every single vinyl cover in the kitchen was starting to peel away from the cabinets, which was a look. And basically the carpet in the hall was worn away to near nothing, and it turned out to be tiles of carpet that were lifting. So I was like, I don't know about that. And then I walk into the living room and I see this beautiful big back door that opens out into an average at best garden. And I think, oh, that's great. Let's open that. And we could open that and we could have like people over. We can have some drinks. You can walk through those big doors into the back garden. I say to the person giving me a tour, can we open that? I want to see what it's like with the doors open. And they're like, oh, we don't have keys. Okay, fair enough. We'll go through the kitchen and out the back that way through the crap door. Fair enough. And the back garden is okay. There's a shed in it that has moss growing out of it. More moss than wood at that point, but okay. We go back in, we go upstairs. One of the bedrooms is bright purple, one of the bedrooms is bright green, one of them's bright yellow, and the other one's bright pink. The hallways are a peach color. The hallways are actually quite a similar color to my, maybe not peach, well, my shirt is more peach in real life than it is in the video, but imagine this is a peachy, this is about the color of the hallway. And this same vibrance of shirt was the color of every other room in purple, green, yellow, and pink. So this color, by the way, was the same color that the living room was, and that the kitchen was as well. Not exactly ideal, but we could repaint the place, right? Not a big deal. So I write down a list of things that I think are wrong with the place, and I think, you know, can I get these fixed? Can I go to the whatever you call them, the people that are dealing, the middleman between me and the landlord? It was a rental, by the way. And I go to them and I say, look, I don't like this, I don't like this, and I don't like this. But I want the property. I like the area. I like the house. It's perfect for what I need. It's more than perfect for what I need. It's affordable, despite the amount of rooms in it. And I want the place, but these are some issues. So they said pretty much the exact attitude that the, what do you call them? The realtor, whatever, the rental agency, we'll go with that. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. That'll be fine. We can get that all sorted for you. And I say, okay, well, I'm going to want 2 sets of keys as well, because I want one for me and one for my grandmother, because honestly, my grandmother, if I move out today, my grandmother is going to want a set of keys so she can walk in whenever I'm going to get done after a 6-hour stream someday. And I'm going to come downstairs when I move out. It's a pandemic right now. I'm going to come downstairs. My grand's going to be sat there, made herself a cup of tea watching Coronation Street on my TV because she just got fed up sitting in the house here. Fair enough. So again, they're like, okay, no problem. We can do that for you. We'll get you a second set of keys. That'll be no problem. Fast forward a month and it's almost moving day. So I get a call from the real estate or the rental agency, and they say, hey, your keys are here. The place is ready to go. The landlord has sorted everything that you wanted sorted. So I think, oh, great. Okay. Well, everything's ready to go. I'll go pick up the keys and go to the house, and we'll start moving the first thing we'd move would be my office so I can keep working. No problem. All right. So we go pick up the keys, and I get to the rental agency and they hand me 2 keys. This was a house that had a little porch on it. So there would have been 2 different keys for the front door of the porch and the door inside the porch. There was another key that should have been there for the back door in the kitchen, and another key that should have been there for the back door on the living room. So I say, hey, I wanted 2 sets of keys. There's 4 different doors with 4 different locks. Why have I only got 2 keys? And they say, oh, don't worry about it. The sets of keys that you want are up at the house. So I think, okay, I'll go up to the house and I'll get the sets of keys. I guess they're going to be on the kitchen table or something. I get to the house and the front door on the porch is not locked, and the door inside is, which I open. And I go in, I look at the kitchen, and there's no keys. I go look in the living room, maybe on top of the mantle. No keys. On top of the TV cabinet, no keys. Coffee table, no keys. Desk upstairs, no keys. So I ring the rental agency and I say, there's no keys here. I can't unlock the door at the back of my living room. That's a major fire hazard. I don't have the ability to unlock a potential fire escape. And they say, oh, that's weird. We'll ring the landlord. And they ring me back 10 minutes later. Oh, he can't sort it right now. He's on holiday. He's out of the country. Okay, when's he going to be back? About 2 weeks from now. So I say, okay, right. Who lived in this house before me? And this was the first time that I thought to ask this. You can see why I might have been an idiot here. There's been a lot of red flags so far. And the rental agency says, oh, it was a student house. There were 4 students living in that house before I was there. They all had sets of keys. None of those sets of keys were accounted for. None of the keys for that property were returned to the rental agency or the landlord. There were 4 people out there with sets of keys for that property that were unaccounted for. And I was about to move my entire studio. I was about to move my entire business in there. Now, not to brag. I'm not trying to brag here or show off or anything, but all of the equipment I have around here is worth literally thousands upon thousands of dollars. That one PC right there is about $3,000. That one is $2,000. That's $5,000 in PCs right there. This microphone was about $1,000 on its own, which I just hit, and I probably shouldn't do that. Sorry, that was very unprofessional of me to hit the microphone. The point is, that's about $1,000, and so that camera, about 1,000, probably about 1,500. I was gonna move all of this into a house where 4 full sets of keys were unaccounted for, and one of the doors I couldn't even unlock as a potential fire escape. Okay. So what I say is, well, can the landlord get someone to change the locks? Can we get new locks put on the property? They call the landlord. The landlord says, no, I'm not doing that, but if you do it and invoice me, I'll pay you. So I say, I'm not doing that. By the way, the carpets that needed replaced haven't been replaced. The kitchen, which is peeling away, hasn't been fixed. All of this stuff that you said, rental agency, that would be fixed hasn't been fixed. And by the way, there's moss growing out of all of the guttering on the house. What exactly did the landlord do in the 4 weeks between me giving these issues over and being told that they would be fixed and me getting the 2 keys for the house, other than plan his holiday? Because he certainly doesn't seem to give a damn about the house or me as the person renting it. Oh, and by the way, I brought up the concern of the colors of the house and how it was all like, it was like a Teletubby house. And the landlord said, okay, well, you can paint it white, as in all the interior walls, which, by the way, the rental agency told me would increase the value. I can paint it white if I sign an additional contract agreeing to a 2nd year of rent right off the bat. I don't know if you counted how many red flags were in that story, but this was over the course of about 2 months that this all happened, and not at any point during that did I think, this is a bit weird. This is a bit unprofessional. This is a bit of a joke, really. No, I signed everything, not the 2-year agreement. I did get out of this, by the way. I signed everything. I looked at it. I trusted that it would be fixed. It wasn't. I trusted the landlord would do his job. He didn't. Not a single one of those red flags concerned me enough to back out. And then in the end, what I had to do was I said to the rental agency, I don't want this place. I do not want it. This landlord does not care. He doesn't give a damn about my safety in the house that he owns, that I'm renting from him. The list of complaints I gave over weren't addressed clearly. I want out. And they said, well, you've signed a 1-year contract. And I said, well, I'm not paying it. And they said, okay, well, we can either take you to court and make you pay it, or, you know, deal with you for being in breach of your contract, or how about we put it back on the market, you pay the rent until someone else takes it. I said, I will pay 2 months of rent. I will pay this month that I've had the house for about a week now at this point. I will pay this month. I will pay next month. It's on you to sell this place, this dump, to some other friggin' loser by the end of next month. And credit to them, they must have the best salespeople in the world because they friggin' did it. And what's funny about it is I never heard back from them. They never contacted me again, and I'm honestly terrified to go back out looking for places to either buy or rent, because quite frankly, if it's with them, I'd be very surprised if I'm not on a blacklist, because that was a mess. It was a goddamn mess. But that's a period of time. That's probably one of the most glaring examples of me being an idiot, because I was an idiot, man. There were so many signs. I mean, there's other examples such as going to college for computer studies and regretting that for 2 years. That was a waste of 2 years. But, you know, I had some fun during that. I watched someone get very drunk at break time one day and come into class. Now, this being college, we could swear, and if we needed to go to the bathroom, we just got up and went. By that I meant went to the bathroom, not just like got up and went. Yeah, so this guy, this is a side story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. This guy, he was kind of one of these guys that it was like, hey, I bet you won't do this. And he'd be like, I'm doing it. So a bunch of people said, hey, I bet you won't drink 2 liters of cider between this lesson and the next. There was like a 15-minute break between them. And he said, watch me. As it turned out, you couldn't buy 2 liters of cider, but you could buy 3. So in the next class, he was out of it, and he stood up midway through class. And again, keep in mind, we're all pretty much adults at this point. We're 16. I mean, some of the youngest was 16. The oldest was like 23, but you're all treated like adults. If you need the bathroom, get up and go to the friggin' toilet. So he got up in the middle of class, understandably needing the bathroom, and walked about halfway across the room before he stopped, turned, looked at the lecturer, and he was like about as far, he was like, you know, if I'm here, he wasn't that far from the lecturer, but he very loudly turned and looked at him and went, "Sir, I'm going to the toilet, all right?" And turned and just walked on. It's funnier if you're there, but you weren't, so you're gonna have to trust me when I say that. That was really funny. As well as Northern Ireland is a this isn't a time I think I was an idiot. This was funny. Northern Ireland is a country that is divided in a lot of ways, united in many others, but one of the tales as old as time is a lot of people are Protestant and a lot of people are Catholic. I myself, I'm not religious, but I was raised I went to Catholic schools until I started going to college. So I was brought up in that circle. And the best friend I had in college was very Protestant, and I was brought up in a very Catholic background. And some of the most fun we had was poking fun at each other because of that. My high school had nuns in it, just to clarify here. So I was brought up in a very Catholic background. My religious studies teacher for a year or 2 was a nun. One of the other fun things that we did in college was we would print out, I would Photoshop his face, this very Protestant friend of mine, under the Pope. And then I'd print it out and put it up on notice boards around the college. That was fun. That was where my Photoshop knowledge started, to be totally honest. So all the thumbnails and all the graphics design I do for YouTube these days all started with me Photoshopping his face onto the Pope. And that, I think, just about 321 JCat. I hope that answers your question of what's a moment in my life I look back on and say, wow, I was an idiot every time I remember it.